Page 160. Read each statement. Draw a line to match each statement with the picture it describes. 1. This saltwater ecosystem covers much of the Earth's surface. Ocean. 2. This ecosystem's main plant is grass. Grassland. 3. This ecosystem has the cactus, a plant that stores water in its stem. Desert. 4. Stellar jays and mountain goats live in this ecosystem. Mountain. Fox and deer drink the fresh water from this water ecosystem. River. Page 161. Wordplay. Use the clues to help unscramble each word. Write the unscrambled word in the boxes. You can use internet or your book if you don't remember the name. You can pause the video to work in this part. Page 162. In what kind of ecosystem will you find these living things? Write the name of the area underneath each one. 3. Explain the difference between a population and a community. Give an example of each. You can find this in the previous video. Page 165. People in Science. Meet the ecosystems scientist, Denny Ramirez. Denny Ramirez was a marine biologist. She studied the world's largest fish, the whale shark. She spent most of her time in the waters of Mexico. After taking pictures of each shark, she tagged them to track their movement. She recorded where they eat, migrate, and reproduce. Her work helped people understand and protect whale sharks and their habitat. Each whale shark has a different pattern of spots on its back. Ramirez used these spots to identify the whale sharks. Cassandra Nichols. Cassandra Nichols was a scientist who studied climate change. She and a team of scientists studied the rainforest in Australia. To reach the top of the rainforest trees, Nichols used a very tall crane. Other scientists on the team studied the soil, insects, birds, and other animals in the rainforest. Nichols and her team hoped to learn how changes in climate affect this ecosystem. A special tool called a barometer is used to study the leaves of the rainforest. Marine biologist. What is a marine biologist? Marine biologists study life in the oceans, and sometimes the oceans themselves. They may investigate the behavior and psychological process of marine species, or the diseases and environmental conditions that affect them. They may also assess the impacts of human activities on marine life. Many marine biologists work under job titles such as wildlife biologist, zoologist, fish and wildlife biologist, fisheries biologist, aquatic biologist, conservation biologist, and biological technician. So, a marine biologist study the ocean, the animals, the environment, and how the humans affect them.
I'm Rachel Butler. I'm a marine biologist and wildlife filmmaker, and I've just finished working on Oceans, Our Blue Planet. I've seen some pretty amazing things underwater, like being in the middle of a super pod of dolphins or coming face to face with ragged-toothed sharks in the middle of a shipwreck. When people hear about these amazing wildlife encounters, they often ask, how do you become a marine biologist? My first answer would be, you need to figure out what your passion is. For me, it all started when I was a little girl. Almost every single day in the summer, my dad and I would go rock pooling. But as soon as I watched the film Free Willy, I became a little bit obsessed with orcas and with whales. I'd draw little orcas and little orca heads, whale heads and mermaids and scribble all over my school books because I was always daydreaming about what else might live under the waves. But daydreaming would only get me so far. To achieve my goals, I had to study. The obvious choices for subjects at school are biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics, geography. To be completely honest though, just as long as you study biology or you have an understanding of biology, all you really need to have is passion. And beyond your studies, you need to think about how you want to spend your time. You need to ask yourself, what kind of marine biologist do you want to be? Do you want to be on the ocean or in the ocean? Do you want to be working in a laboratory? Are you happier with a microscope, or do you want to be in a submersible under the ocean? Do you want to be working in the poles? Do you want to be in the tropics? Do you want to be a wildlife filmmaker? Do you want to find the next species out there? You might want to develop the next technologies that will allow us to explore even more of the oceans, whether that be an ROV or drones or satellites that will look on the ocean from above. Once you know what your passion is and you've got your qualifications, then go and get experience. My passion, as well as whales, was coral reefs, and so I wanted to learn as much as I possibly could about corals. So I volunteered with a charity for 7 months. It's one thing reading about animals underwater, and it's another immersing yourself in the underwater world and diving down and seeing these animals firsthand. With this group, I learnt over 300 different species of tropical fish, about 100 different species of coral, and about 150 species of invertebrate. And whilst I was there, I got a lot of dives under my belt and became a competent diver. And it was these skills that helped me to get my first ever job as a marine biologist on the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. From here, I decided to pursue a career in underwater wildlife filmmaking. When I think back to being a little girl, being obsessed with orcas and whales, I can't quite believe that I've just finished working on a film called Oceans, Our Blue Planet. It's been a dream come true. The ocean covers 2/3 of our planet, and marine biologists have made so many amazing discoveries about what lives in the oceans and what happens in there. But yet with that vast an area, there are so many more incredible discoveries, I'm sure, still to be found. Such as, where do whale sharks go to give birth? How do sperm whales catch giant squid? What else lives in the deep sea? I mean, we found some incredible things down there. Just think about the other amazing things that are down there that we have no idea even exists yet. And I find that a really exciting thought. Who are the next generation of marine biologists and filmmakers, and what are they going to discover?
Scientist. A scientist is someone who conducts scientific research to advance knowledge in an area of interest. In classical antiquity, there was no real ancient analog of a modern scientist. Instead, philosophers engaged in the philosophical study of nature called natural philosophy, a precursor of natural science. A scientist investigate. A scientist investigate to know more about something, but it requires of many steps. Do you remember the scientific method? Well, a scientist is using this to discover and to know more about other things that might help humans and their environment, and also animals.
Let's be scientists. Today I'm a scientist. Do you want to be a scientist too? Let's start with my dog Potato. When she's thirsty, I fill up her bowl with water and she takes a big slurp. My mom's plant is looking thirsty too. Let's predict what will happen if I put Potato's bowl next to it. It's not drinking. Do you think I should pour water in the flower pot? Oh, that's much better. Plants don't drink water with their mouths like Potato and me. They soak up water through their roots. Let's paint a picture of the plant to remember what we discovered. I don't have green paint for the plant, only red, yellow, and blue. What do you think will happen if I mix some colors? Red and yellow make orange. What will blue and yellow make? Whoa! Mixing yellow and blue makes green. Ta-da! Let's go outside for one last experiment. It's really hot out here. Let's see what happens to this cup of cold ice. Do you think it will melt? It is melting. Now we have a cup of cold water, which is a liquid. When water is frozen into ice, it's a solid. Water can also be a gas. That's the steam you see when grown-ups heat up water on the stove. Hey, Potato. Still thirsty, girl? Thanks for playing scientist with me today. Look around you. Can you make a prediction?
Climate change. A change in global or regional climate patterns, in particular a change apparent from the mid to late 20th century onwards and attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels. So, climate change, it means when the carbon dioxide increase in levels, and this may affect the earth. The climate change, like the name says, is going to change the climate in different ways and not normal ways. Sometimes humans had to do with this.
This is the world. That's you and that's me. The world has the perfect temperature to keep all living things alive and happy. This temperature depends on a balance. The sun's heat goes to Earth to make it warm. The sun's heat bounces back to space to make the Earth cool. When this balance is lost, the climate changes. The Earth's climate has changed many times before. This is called natural climate change. It's caused by volcanic eruptions, changes in the sun's energy, and changes in the Earth's orbit. Greenhouse gases also make the Earth warmer. They trap heat from the sun. Greenhouse gases are like a blanket covering the Earth. It started in the 1700s. Humans started to build more things. We burned coal to make electricity. We burned oil to make our cars and planes move. We use chemicals to make things. We cut down lots of trees. We burn gas to cook food. We dump lots of trash on landfills. We plant a lot more rice. All these things release greenhouse gases. Remember the blanket over the Earth? Because of humans, it got much, much thicker. When I get hot, I sweat. I even get dizzy. Imagine the Earth. Because it's hotter, glaciers and ice sheets are melting. Seas are rising, storms are getting stronger, some places are getting dry, even the sea is getting warmer. All living things are in big trouble. So, what should we do? We need to change the way we live so we can stop releasing so much greenhouse gases. That way, the Earth's blanket will go back to normal. We also need to be ready for what climate change will bring. In December, there will be a big meeting of nations. They'll meet in Paris to decide how each country can help. Their decision will decide the future of Earth, our home.
People in Science. Know your ecosystem. Page 166. Label each clue with the letter of the matching picture. For example, number 1. These animals live in an ocean ecosystem. It is C. A shark lives in an ocean ecosystem.